Hey, it's John from Hologramchat.com, and this is episode 82 of the fireside chat. And once again, I'm very happy to have my friend Scott Bravell on here. And how you doing, Scott?
Great, good, doing real good tonight, Jonathan. How about you?
Doing great. Can't complain. And I'm real happy that we're going to be talking about the subject we're talking about tonight because the concept of being consistent. I was joking earlier about how I've been consistently inconsistent, and it's I was talking to a friend of mine, a mentor today, who was saying that once you start taking consistent action, people start to really take notice, and that you're serious about trying to help people. And what can you say about your experience with consistency? I know you've been real consistent with your wellness program lately, and congratulations for that.
Yeah, thanks for the congrats on that. I was just thinking about that myself. I didn't want to answer it that way. When you asked me how I was doing, I almost said frustrated instead of great. I am doing great, but I am also been in touch with some of my frustration lately and realizing that the frustration is in incomplete tasks, things that I start that I haven't finished, or feeling really good about my consistency or staying on track and staying focused with my wellness program and working out with a trainer and things like that. But there's other things. It's interesting how certain segments of my life I'm able to be very consistent with, and right now there's certain segments of business plan or treating it like a business and not like an hot and cold or something, or the consistency, or the sometimes not completing things that I told myself I would finish by deadline, and the deadline passes and I don't meet it, and getting frustrated and realizing that the frustration is really me, and I need to deal with that. I used to think that, put the blame on somebody else because I got my boss gave me extra work to do, or I was too busy working out, I didn't have time to do that, or I was, or I had an injury this week, and blah blah blah. I mean, I can find a lot of reasons, quote unquote, but they're really kind of like, you can look at them as reasons, or I can almost look at them kind of like excuses or things that I didn't, like getting an incomplete on an assignment when you're in school or something. You got to finish it, and you've started it, you have done some work on it, but you haven't followed all the way through to the end. So I guess there's some frustration that I'm not more consistent in in many more aspects of my life than rather, I can point to certain ones like my wellness routine and some other things that I've been successful in, some marketing campaigns and stuff, but there's some other things that I've started or I've planned to have done by now, and so that's where some of the frustration comes in. So I guess it's good that we're talking about consistency. It's really a way to improve your quality of life, in a sense, almost. To me, at this point, it's gotten to such a point where I'm just not satisfied if I'm not being consistent in more areas of my life, and it's something that I've gotten better at looking at. So I haven't I'm recognizing it, which I guess is the first step. But as you and I have talked about, we need to go beyond the recognition to actually, keeping consistent action going on some of these things that we know that we want to accomplish, and not sabotaging ourselves. So that was kind of a long answer to your question, Jonathan, but you got me going with the whole idea of our chat tonight.
Yeah, that's great, and I appreciate that. And we talked earlier about how we're going to do some future episodes where we talk about mentors and mentorship, and we're also going to do a future episode where we talk about having an accountability partner and how important that can be, and how important that is really. And but in terms of the consistency, the one thing I wanted to add on was that when I know a lot of great marketers, and there seems to be a tendency with marketers to develop a ADD type of marketing style where they sort of jump from business to business and like, oh, they think this is the new hot thing this month, and 2 months later they're on the next hot thing, and it just shows that their focus is scattered. They're trying to help people with the next best thing, but what they find out is that by not being consistent with the first thing they started, they're sabotaging their success because people look at them like they're all over the place, and that's how most people are. It's not really attractive like being consistent is.
Yeah, I think we have to try to connect with our passion as a way to be consistent. And I think my trainer said something to me the other day where I was telling her about how many days at that point I had done, I think 24 or something days in a row, and she said, and I mentioned it to her, and she said 21 days is a habit. I had never heard that expression before, and when she was trying to say that, once there was something magic about, once you have done it for like 21 days in a row straight, that it's become a habit. It's not just an on again, off again type of thing. And I think if we can find some of these tools to be more effective, all of us, and you and I and other people who are getting in touch with that kind of sense of wanting to accomplish more in their life, in certain areas of their life, that if we could kind of make these things more automatic or more of a habit, because I tend to sometimes say, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow, or, it's in my mind, so I know, I'm thinking about it, so I know I'll get it done, and then it doesn't get done. And I'm thinking that I'm good enough that I can just think about it, or just have the will that I feel it's going to get done, and then it'll get done. And if you don't really find a way to, tie it to a passion that, you have a passion about it, or tie it to, or make it into a habit where it's more automatic and not so much allowing ourselves a way out, or like you said, sabotage. And I think if we can find ways to do that, we're going to appear more attractive, as you mentioned, to other people, and we're going to even appear more attractive to ourselves in a sense too. We're going to be more content, or more feeling more attractive about our overall picture, rather than just saying, yeah, well, I'm good in this part of my life, but I still need to get better here. So I think if we can do that as individuals looking to grow and be more consistent, that's going to help us attract more people that we want to attract into our lives, and also have more of a sense of that we're really attracting or feeling attractive ourselves, if you know what I mean.
Right. And like this ties into the episode we did about not quitting and giving up. And like I remember when I decided to quit high school football, I had coaches and people tell me, quitting's the worst thing you can ever do, and it's going to ruin your whole life. And I was thinking to myself, like, I'm not getting paid for this football, and if I get a concussion or if I get crippled, like, are you going to pay my medical bills? And I'm actually glad that I quit playing football because of all the concussions that tend to go with that sport. But that's a rare case. In most examples, you don't want to quit and you want to be consistent and see it through to completion.
Yeah, I think it's important that we have some kind of an action plan or some kind of game plan. And I'm not the model of consistency, so I'm talking about stuff that I think we can use as tools. And I can certainly I recognize in myself that I'm aware of some of these, but I don't always use them as effectively as I could. So I think we have to try and, like you said, find out, get in touch with what our passion is, maybe find some tools or things that we can use to make it more of an automatic type of behavior, more of a habit, and more of almost a sense like our day is not finished or our day is not complete until we've done certain things that we want to do. And you mentioned accountability partners. That's where an accountability partner can really help you, because there's somebody who is going to stretch you, so to speak, and they're also going to hold you accountable in the sense that a lot of times your friends and people, your acquaintances are not going to do that. They're not going to your feet to the fire. They're going to just say, yeah, really, you injured yourself or you had other things going on. I understand. And they're going to kind of sympathize with you, whereas your accountability partner is really going to that all you got? You know, I mean,
Right.
still not convinced. You still owe me, you know, those 2 blog entries you promised to do this week, or you still owe me those phone calls that you said you were going to do.
Right.
I'm not letting you off the hook. And your friends and your family are going to be the first ones, really, to let you off the hook on that stuff. So that's why I think it's something that, you know, we'll maybe talk about more in a future show, but there's an advantage to having an accountability partner as well as a mentor who can kind of point things out to you, and phrase them in such a way that you'll take them as, you know, accept them as constructive criticism.
Right. And like when I do the life coaching stuff, you know, I make audios for people, and my hope is that they will consistently listen to them. And you know, I'm glad you mentioned that thing about the 21 days magically creating a habit, because the fact that you did these 30-some days on your workout, that inspired me with your consistency to make it to the gym myself today, and you know, did some yoga, and it is great. And it's like, once you start doing something positive in your life consistently, it improves your life, and you feel like, oh, how could I have lived without this? You know, this is so much better than what I was doing before. And so I know you got to get to the gym tonight, so I'm going to cut this off, but I appreciate you adding on about the consistency and how important that is.
Okay, it was great chatting with you tonight on our fireside chat. I look forward to some of our future chats where we can dive into some of these other things. Our hope, of course, is that sharing some of our experiences and peeling back some of the layers on our own lives will be, helpful to other people, and some other people, it will resonate with what some other people are feeling as well. So that's our real goal here, is to by sharing this with others, to hope that you guys out there are getting some benefit from this as well.
Definitely. That's our goal, is to inspire and educate and, you know, share the stuff that we've found that works and doesn't work, and, you know, get people, ourselves included, on that positive trajectory.
Sounds good. It was great chatting with you tonight, Jonathan.
You too, Scott, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon for those other 2 broadcasts, other 2 episodes. All right, buddy.
You have a good morning, good evening out here, and it was great chatting with you again.
All right, you too, brother. Take care.
All right.